Hello and welcome to Own the Season podcast. I'm Michelle Helen along with Art Helen and Brad Jones. And today we have with us Ben Kreple and Greg Fischer from Burn Pit BBQ. Hey guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're just trying to stay warm. We're pretty cold up here in Wisconsin right now, aren't we?
It's a little chilly. Are they all like a negative 17 or something with the wind chill?
Yeah, just a little chilly.
Yeah, so I don't know, you guys might better than myself, but I don't think I'm going to be, standing outside on my deck in a pair of shorts grilling out today. I might be cooking some stuff inside, but I don't think I'm going to be outside grilling out.
Well, it's all a choice, Art. You know what I mean?
I'd probably put the pants on today.
True story, it is a choice because, I would probably sit in a tree stand today at 17 to 20 below. I don't know how long I'd last, but so you're right. It is all a choice. So, good point.
And it's all relative to like where you are in the country and like, how extreme this might be or hard normal. I saw a post on Facebook today that struck me as funny. It was, I think, from a weatherman, and it was like, attention parents of teenagers. It's going to be really cold, so make sure your teenagers wear their winter hoodies and winter shorts and flip-flops today.
Socks.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I have a 14-year-old, and I had to tell him to put on pants today. Otherwise, he's short.
So next week, I'm sure he'll definitely be in the shorts and flip-flops.
Oh yeah, shorts, t-shirts, Crocs. The typical weather attire here for teenagers.
Yeah.
Well, let's get rolling in the podcast, guys. Why don't you tell us about yourselves and Burn Pit BBQ?
Yeah, so we started back in July of 2020.
Yeah.
When we officially launched the business. We started off with just 3 products, and then we've expanded quite a bit from there. So now we've got a full lineup of all natural rubs, seasonings, and sauces. And I don't know, every year we do different things where we give back to the military community, as both Greg and I've served. So we do a lot kind of in the military realm. But we really kind of started this as it was just like a backyard hobby where after college, Greg and I would kind of get together with our families and stuff, and spend a lot of time just cooking and kind of playing and trying new things out on the grill. And we kind of got to a point where we started to pay a little bit more attention, like reading the backs of the labels and stuff. And, there's a lot of stuff like we couldn't pronounce or didn't really know what it was. And we're like, man, we could do a lot better than this. So in our experience, we kind of made a commitment to well, you can still have good barbecue. You don't need all the additives and stuff like that, and you can still keep it clean. And that's kind of what we set out to do.
Well, I know you guys said that you like to give back, and I know I might jump ahead here a little bit, but I was fortunate to join you guys at your backyard barbecue cook-off. Tell us about that a little bit, and what you guys are doing there.
Yes, so we started that, I think about 4 years ago. We were just looking for another unique way to give back. In the barbecue world, there's a lot of talk about, barbecue competitions and all that kind of stuff. So, but we wanted to keep it really simple. We wanted to have only like backyard barbecuers, where we're raising money for like a cause, like a local veteran nonprofit. So we started off doing that. I think it was in 2021. And we started with maybe 8 or 9 teams that came out to our event. And then you were there last year, I know, and we had, I think, 18 teams sign up. And each year we raise money for a different organization, local veteran organization here. And each year we've been able to surpass the previous year's amount that we've raised. So I think it just goes to show that the community here in Wisconsin and southeastern Wisconsin is always going to come out and help us support great local veteran organizations. So that's kind of how we started it, and we're looking forward to our 5th annual one this year, coming the day before Labor Day.
Nice. Yeah, I had a great time. Everybody was so nice, and ability to share all their secrets and stuff. Great cause as well. It's a very enjoyable outing that we had.
Yeah, Brad, you're cooking in it this year, right?
Yeah, set up a booth this time.
I would like to see how busy Art keeps me.
At this point right now, it's looking pretty busy, but I'm hoping to slow down by then, just like you are. So, but by summertime, because we're, going to be airing the TV show, Q2 this year, hopefully everything will be done and obviously we'll have a lot of stuff to still do, but I think all the major stuff will be done by that summertime, and hopefully it'll get you a little time so you can go over and enjoy some of that stuff that you love to do too, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
hey guys, let's roll through some of the rubs that you guys have. What's your most popular one that you're selling?
Our most popular rub is probably our Sweet Heat. It's got a nice sweetness, a little bit of a bite at the end. It pairs pretty well with pork, but we do get a lot of people too that that's one that they'll play with a little bit. We get people that say they'll do their briskets with it. We have a lot of people that will call and tell us like, yeah, I put it in my chili and it's awesome. So you get a little bit of that sweetness, like I said, and a little bit of a kick at the end. Typically, I'm using it on ribs, pork butts, pork shoulders, even the kind of tenderloins or pork chops. But it's typically our most popular one, and then probably our second, which is a pretty close second favorite, I would say, is our ground pounders. They're all-purpose garlic seasoning. I mean, that's one you can use every single day, whether you're cooking, on the grill, off the grill, and it's just great with about anything. I mean, beef, pork, chicken, vegetables. I mean, my wife uses it on her eggs all the time too. But yeah, I mean that's one that is right up there as well.
no,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the pop smoke, the Memphis. I use that on everything. That is so good.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. I use it probably weekly. I love it on chicken, especially like turkeys too, like around Thanksgiving and stuff. Like that's my go-to.
Nice. Now, obviously, us as hunters, and so we do a lot of stuff with wild game. Is there anything that you guys really like? Do you like the seasonings or the rubs, or what do you like most? As far as venison, pheasant, things like that. And I know Brad and Michelle can jump into this as if they want to too. But is there anything different that you guys really look at from wild game to, I hate to say processed foods, but into other types of meat?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of depends. It depends on like the cut of venison I'm doing. A lot of times it's like kind of your back straps, your tenderloins, your roast, stuff like that. I'm cooking those kind of similar to like a steak, right? Like I'm using kind of that garlic seasoning. Also put like maybe like fire in the hole on there. Add like a bit of a kick to it. But we do have a fish and wild game seasoning that it pairs really well. We got a lot of people that send us pictures or let us know like, oh yeah, we made Bambi burgers over the weekend and they use that on those. I also use like our downrange quite a bit. So if I'm doing kind of burgers or like you said, getting into like kind of the fowl side, like the pheasants and other other birds, I typically, I mean, like Greg said too, like, and for the turkey this year, I use our Memphis style, that pop smoke on the turkey. So I'll kind of go back and forth between like our downrange, which is more of like a savory rub, or I'll go with that Memphis style.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, the first strike, I like that on fish and pheasant, and we use that on all game. Very good seasoning for that.
Oh, thank you.
Can you maybe like walk us through? Because I think you've shared with me in the past when we've talked about how like maybe you use some of your things like in combination, like your hot sauces, and then adding a rub to that kind of like later in the process. I think there's a way to to use them together and share some ideas for that.
Yeah, so I think I'll kind of explain like the difference between a seasoning and a rub. So like a seasoning, we have seasonings that are typically you can put on like after you're done cooking something. Like our garlic seasoning is great to put on, before or after you're done cooking. And like a barbecue rub is traditionally something that you put on before you cook it. So we have rubs as well. And I think what you're mentioning, like the hot sauce, we like to experiment a lot with like how we use our products. So we do carry like a seasonal hot sauce, and we have a garlic habanero, and we like to put that on as like a binder, which means that just you put that on first on the meat before you put any rub or seasoning on there. And that just helps with another additional layer of flavor, as well as helping the whatever you're putting on it stick a little bit. So we've experimented with like hot sauces, marinades, and sauces that we have, because traditionally a lot of people just use like an olive oil or like a mustard binder, and then they'll put their seasoning on. You can really just kind of play around with a lot of different other options too. So you don't just have to stick with just like the traditional mustard or olive oil, especially for those that might like a little bit of spice like we do. You can add a little bit of hot sauce as a binder, rub it all over, and then put whatever your favorite seasoning on is. So that's kind of how we like to experiment, and we've had some pretty good, tasty cooks that way.
So do you leave it on for any certain like length of time, or is it like pretty immediate? You can add your rub or.
Yeah, that's a great question. So usually, like when I put a binder on, I'll rub it down immediately with whatever seasoning or rub I'm using. But then I'll let it stay on there for at least a half an hour before I put it on the grill or the smoker. Typically with like larger meats, I'll let it go a little bit longer if I have time. If I'm planning ahead, which sometimes I don't do. Sometimes I pull it out and kind of on the spot decide what I'm going to cook. But if I have time and I plan it out, we typically recommend at least a half an hour for like those flavors to start to meld into the meat and pull some of that moisture out. And then also, if you have time, overnight is usually kind of the best.
When you talk binders, what are you using for a binder? Like mustard or something like that, or what do you use?
So like Greg was saying too, I've been using like the hot sauces a lot as like a binder, just to do something different. There's also times too where I'm a huge fan of regular mustard just on like hot dogs and stuff like that. But I've kind of gone away from using mustard as like a binder all that often. Like a lot of times I'll use, like on ribs, like I've been doing, like maple syrup. So you kind of get a little bit of a sweeter profile on there. So I'll use maple syrup or like a honey as well. And, that's kind of the route that I've been going lately. We've had people too that have used, what was that? One guy used like a cherry jelly or something like that too, and as his binder and rubbed down like for his ribs and stuff like that. Yeah, we've heard mayonnaise lately. It's kind of been a kick. I personally haven't tried that or gone that route. So
I heard of quite a few people using mayonnaise as a binder. So
yeah.
So for people that aren't big barbecuers, the binder basically holds the rub on, correct?
I mean, it's something you're kind of putting on there. It's another flavor profile, right? So like you're adding to it, and you're typically kind of putting that on the meat, kind of rubbing it all over and stuff, and then putting your binder on. So depending on kind of what you use and how much sugar concentrations in there and stuff as well, adds kind of like the bark and stuff like that.
I'll have to try that. You mentioned like the jellies. One of my favorite recipes for venison, that's just cooked in a skillet a different way, has currant jelly in that sauce. So I wonder, that'd be something I might experiment with, is using that as a binder and cooking the meat a different, on the grill or a different way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best part about, barbecuing and grilling is like there's no right or wrong way to do it. You can always just kind of experiment and see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, and maybe try to, it more often or as much as possible, try to think enough ahead that you can at least let stuff sit for a half hour, an hour, or even overnight to really get the most out of that, rather than just have it, be a flavor that sits on the very outside of the meat.
Yeah. What kind of cut are you putting that on?
That's been like backstrap.
Okay.
That's been backstrap, that recipe.
Are you doing anything else in the like you said like a cast iron, right, that you're using?
Yeah, that recipe is like super simple, and it's literally just, frying it in melted butter. And then you take the meat out and then make a sauce that's wine, jelly, some very little herb, but a couple things in it. But the currant jelly, I think, just really makes that unique.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's one of my, even my mother-in-law, who, most of our family is not a fan of wild game. But I mean, our extended family, or at least Art's side. And even Art's mom has likes that recipe and has had seconds, so that's like the real telltale, is if they come back for more, right?
That's a winner.
Sure is.
Absolutely. So, guys, how do you come up with your rubs and seasonings? What thought process goes into them?
Man, I'll be honest, like it kind of depends on like what we're seeing, what kind of is being used a lot. But then I don't know, like it's almost like whatever we want to do, I guess. I wouldn't even say there's really a rhyme or reason to it. Like one we're kind of working on now is I was at an event and some guy just kind of told me this is what he heard someone was doing. I was like, oh, well, I can do that. And it's almost like a challenge. Like, okay, well, fine. Like, we'll give that a shot. I mean, we'll kind of read about stuff or like just, I want to try that. And it just becomes like, or someone will ask us like, hey, you guys should really, do you have this? Or like, we get asked a lot at shows, like if we have like a Cajun seasoning. So we're kind of talking about throwing around the idea of like coming up with a Cajun seasoning or something, So, like it just depends. Like whatever, like I said, we might be reading like a cookbook and just decide like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's try that. And let's give that a go. Or I'm going to try this out. And, there's times too where we try stuff and like, yeah, nope, that definitely wasn't it. So I wouldn't say it's really like one way that we decide to add something new. I mean, Greg will try something and he'll save some for me and I'll try it and then we'll talk about it and like we'll continue to kind of tweak it and work on it. And like honestly, it's just kind of like a game. Like we just kind of have a good time. We try not to take it too serious or get too like really don't get mad about it. It's just like Greg tells me all the time, like, hey, dude, that was terrible. Okay, so I'll try again. So
yeah, I mean, we do a lot of testing. We see what's out there, and so anything that we bottle and we sell to the public, it's been through our own personal testing, and then we have friends and family that we give it to make sure, like, hey, is this really that good? Mm-hmm. So I mean, we do have high standards for things that we send out to like people that are purchasing it or buying it. But like we're in constant test mode. We're constantly testing new things. We're constantly trying new flavor profiles. So the ones that make it to actual bottling are few and far between, but the ones that do are really high standard. And we those are ones like we will put our stamp of approval on and bring it out to the masses. But yeah, we're always in development. I think we're kind of developing a few right now that we're starting to get a little bit more excited about.
And that's like the fun part of it. I mean, it's like kind of, I don't want to just sit and taste seasoning all day. So then it's like, all right, well, cool. What do we got in the freezer I can pull out and I can put this on? It forces you to get out and to cook and test stuff out. So
sure, put it on different proteins, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to try it on multiple different ones, right? I can't just,
right. I
want to put on, beef or chicken and pork, so it's like, well, you got to try it on all of them.
Right. I was fortunate enough to pick up a bottle of your barbecue sauce last year at the barbecue bash, and I'm going to tell you what, that's some of the best barbecue sauce I've ever had. And I only got one bottle, and I should have gotten more. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like that, so the maple whiskey I think you're talking about,
Right.
that started out when we first decided that we were going to do that barbecue competition, and we partnered with some representatives from Jack Daniels on that. So Jack Daniels, the whiskey, and they're like, well, if we give you some bottles of whiskey, can you create like a custom sauce? And me and Ben were like, of course, yeah, we could do that, right? So we that's when we went into the lab and we started kind of reiterating and coming up with a new sauce. And after a lot of trials and a lot of testing, we came up with the maple whiskey because one, we wanted to have the Wisconsin maple syrup in it. So again, we love keeping the ties here locally to Wisconsin. So all of those bottles that we make of the maple whiskey sauce, all that syrup is coming directly from trees here in Wisconsin. So we initially started off, I think, with a couple hundred bottles, maybe 100 bottles the first year. And it's just consistently grown over time. Like people tried and they're like, oh my gosh, I love it. But yeah, we only do it one time a year, and we do it at our barbecue competition. So that's when people get a first dibs on being able to purchase it. So that's kind of how we created that one. It was kind of a partnership of, hey, Jack Daniels giving us some whiskey, then us going to source some Wisconsin maple syrup and combining those two to come up with a flavor that we enjoyed and liked, and thankfully other people enjoyed as well. So yeah, if you want to be included, like we do pre-sales every year around August. So you can head over to our website and sign up, and you'll be included with those first round of pre-sales, because we'll sell out. Every time we make a batch, we sell out. So appreciate you letting us know you like it.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be buying several bottles this year. So it went
Right,
fast in our house.
Yeah.
It went very fast in our house.
I'm writing that one down too. Like get on top of that. I mean, that's really something special too when you're using like Wisconsin, like real maple syrup. You know, I had a hoard of real maple syrup in the pantry because we had a friend that lived up north, and every time we saw him, he'd give me a bottle or a jar of maple syrup. And one of my daughters had gone in the pantry, and she's like, "Mom, why are you hoarding maple syrup?" And I said, "Because that's the good stuff. And sometime there'll come a time when he's not making it anymore, you know." And sure enough, he moved south, and isn't making maple syrup anymore. So that's a hot commodity, and when you're only making a limited amount, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it goes pretty fast. This year we did just over 300 bottles, and I mean, this is one that we still make in house. So I mean, you probably get what, about six bottles per batch?
Yeah, I mean,
right around there.
Like we hand make like small batch for this one, so it's me and Ben still in the kitchen doing it, and so we don't outsource this one just yet.
Nice.
Nice.
You got a good product going.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So here's something with myself as I sit here and listen to you guys who all like to cook and stuff, because I usually burn things. So, myself, I have some allergies to certain foods and certain things. So you guys make a few of the sauces and rubs and stuff that I can use. And I know Michelle has done a lot of stuff with a lot of like chicken nuggets, different sauces like that. And I've got to say, the same with these guys as far as your sauces go. Some of the barbecues, the hot sauces, things like that are some of the best sauces that, I've had on different chicken and different things, because I like the hot sauces. And so they are by far some of my favorite sauces that you guys make.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So like all of our products are all natural, like you said. Like we like to keep it clean, and then also they're all gluten free. So like we know people do have food allergies or like can't handle gluten and things like that. So we do our best to try and keep it as clean as possible.
Nice. So one of the big questions that I've got, as we talked earlier and started out, we're talking about how cold it is outside and different things. So, when you're looking at preparing food, do you guys use different rubs and sauces as far as if you're going to prepare it, in that cast iron, if you're going to do it, in an oven, or if it's on a grill, or are they same? Do you just treat them differently? How do you go about, changing up if you can't be outside grilling, but people still really want, that flavor from your seasonings and sauces? Is there a different way that you do it in the kitchen than outside?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do a lot inside, even during the colder months here. We like to use our cast irons quite a bit. Like if you don't have a good cast iron, that's probably one of the tools that we recommend everybody go out and get, because you can get a nice flavor and sear and char using that inside. I'm a big fan of crock pots and Instant Pots as well. I mean, I know it's kind of lazy man's, but you can do a lot, and you can get some pretty good flavor using some of our stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of good recipes out there, but I love using the crock pot if I'm doing like shredded beef, shredded pork. There's definitely a lot of ways that you can still get that good flavor. Like if I'm doing like a shredded beef or something, I'll sear it off in the cast iron before I put it into the crock pot. So you get a little bit of that char on it, and still has an amazing flavor, even though you're using the crock pot. But there's a lot of options.
Nice. And you call it, I don't know if you said lazy man's, but I call it busy man's, the crock pot and stuff, because everybody is so busy today in their world running, taking kids here and there or at their work and stuff. So I don't know if I'd call it lazy man's as much as busy man's. And so it's great to know that you can add all those sauces and get all those great flavors and everything by using it a different way than just sitting outside grilling.
Yeah, I mean it's a great point. So busy man's, I like that better than lazy man's. You can use our stuff in the oven, on the stove. Seasonings are all over the place. You can use it any time. So yeah, I mean, just because it's cold outside doesn't mean you can't have good flavor inside if you're doing it inside.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll do it during the winter. I'll do ribs in the oven, and wrap them in foil and stuff like I do when I'm out on the smoker, and pretty much all the same process. You just don't get that smoked flavor like you would, but they're still really good, and your seasonings are awesome on top of it.
Yeah, I don't use the great thing about the cast iron. So like, to second that idea about a cast iron, being something that people should consider getting, is that you can go from stovetop to oven, with it too. If you're doing something that you want to start out with a sear and then put it in the oven. In the Instapot, that's one thing that I think, that you could do that same thing then in just a one pot with the Instapot by putting it on the saute mode and get your sear on your meat, whether that's, cubed meat or steaks or the roast, and then flip it over, to one of your other modes of cooking.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, Saturday night, I had a New York strip out, and I didn't want to go out and cook on the grill, so I did it in the air fryer, and I used a ground pounder on it because I love the garlic in there. 15 minutes at 400, and that thing was perfectly rare. Didn't get the grill flavored, but it turned out perfect. I saw it online, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. And wow.
Yeah, we got an air fryer for Christmas. I'll have to try that out. Like I haven't used it that much, but we'll have to try that out.
Yeah, I had my doubts at first, but it turned out pretty decent. I was surprised.
Nice. Now, do you guys have? We're talking about some of our favorite ways of cooking and little secrets here. Do you guys have recipes in that on your website?
Yeah, we sure do. I mean, we've got a whole. I mean, we got a ton. We've got quite a few, and a lot of ones that we've tried. Pretty much everything on there is ones that we've done.
Yeah, I mean, since we started in 2020, our goal was to send out like a new recipe or grilling tip every week. So we have a weekly newsletter where we share a new recipe. And so, yeah, you can go out to our website, burnpitbbq.com, and a lot of stuff we're talking about, you can type that in and search it, and a recipe or a tip will come up on it. So, yeah, we definitely like to experiment, but then we also like to share what we're doing.
Nice. So if somebody is like listening and they're feeling a little bit like overwhelmed, don't know where to start, or feeling creative, sometimes it's like it can be intimidating, right? To like, know what goes with what or what have you. And so they can just go to your website and try one of those tested recipes and have something to start with.
Yeah, and like I guess when we started, like we saw like all these recipes were very complex. And so we make it very simple ingredients, simple process that can be done usually outside or inside. So you can use a lot of those recipes inside the house as well, in an oven or on the stove. So, we try and keep it as simple as possible, especially for people that are new. We also have a YouTube channel out there that we're putting more content out up there so you can actually see how we do it. But yeah, one of our goals is that anybody at any time, no matter if they've been doing it forever or this is their first day, that they can pick up the recipe and they should be able to get some good food out of it.
Yeah, 'cause at the end of the day, barbecuing is supposed to be fun, right?
Supposed to be, yeah.
Right.
Simple and fun.
Now, here's something out of the realm of the barbecuing per se is I have seen you guys at a few more, outdoor sporting goods, more fishing stuff. Do you offer products for the fishermen as far as, your different types of fish and stuff out there? Is there a product that you guys prefer on fish?
Yeah. So we do have like our First Strike seasoning that you can design for fish. Pairs really, really well with salmon. There's a lot of times too, like if I'm doing almost kind of like a beer batter or something, like, or I'll kind of fry some fish up, some cod or something like that. Like I'll put it into the kind of the mix that I'm using, and continue to use it that way too.
Nice. So, can you use that even like as a shore lunch if you're out and, a lot of guys go to Canada or different places and, can you use that as a shore lunch and just, season stuff right there too?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. Like, we also do like sample packs too. So I know a lot of people that travel, if they don't want to take a whole bottle with them, we do sample packs where you can buy some and test them out. But yeah, you can put that on right as soon as you catch it, you clean it, and you're looking to cook that night, you can put it on there. It's a great seasoning for just about anything as well.
Nice. So
you guys are doing shows. What outdoor shows or what events are you going to be at here in the near future?
Yeah, so we will be at the Madison Fishing Expo coming up here, actually end of this week, which I think is the 20th maybe. But yeah, at the end of this week, we'll be in Madison for that fishing expo. And then we'll be at the Milwaukee Sports Show. And I think that
March 7th through the 10th, 9th, 7th through the 9th.
Yeah, that'll be in March there. And I think that those are the two last ones that we're doing for the season here, before the spring.
Okay.
Nice. We'll probably see you Saturday. I might come up to the fishing show and walk around, spend a little money.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, we need to. We always need to spend money when we're out at those things. So.
One other question I had was, and maybe you talked about it early, briefly when you were kind of given a rundown of your products, but, what are the different ways people can buy your products? Like, do you have things like packaged together that might go well, or, kits or things like that people can buy if they're looking to get started and are just wanting to get pointed in the right direction?
Yeah. So you can go right out to our website, just burnpitbbq.com. And we have, you can buy like single rubs. You can buy the sample pack. Again, you'll get one of each of the rubs. And then we have different things, different sets. We have stuff that comes in like 3 packs, and you can do like all 3 sauces. You can do 3 rubs. You can do kind of a mix and match. We do have kind of some combo packs out there as well, and they make for great gifts. We did a lot of corporate gifting this year where we had companies that would buy 3 packs and would pass them out to your customers or employees and stuff like that. But yeah, we've got a lot of options. We've got a lot of different kind of combos out there for people.
Yeah, you can find them on our website, like Ben said. We do have a select few products out there on Amazon. And we do have a store locator as well. So like if you go out to our website and type in like where you're at, we primarily sell in retail stores around Wisconsin. You can check to see if there's any place locally that carries our products. And if not, if you know any places, feel free to recommend them to us and we'll reach out. But yeah, you can find us in a number of different ways. And as you mentioned, like we'll be out at the shows here too. We like to make our way around the state at state fairs and that kind of stuff as well.
Nice. So,
Great.
yeah, do you travel for your shows outside of Wisconsin, or do you just try to maintain within?
It kind of depends on the show. For the most part, we stick around Wisconsin. We do go to we did the Chicagoland Fishing Expo a couple weeks ago. But yeah, for the most part, we stay pretty local.
All right. Well, it seems like there's a lot of options out there for people. You've got a wide variety, and you've made it easy for people to purchase the products on your website, and solo items or your bundles and packages. You've got recipes to help people. You've just really, I think, done a lot to make it easy. Run us through one more last time all the places that people can find you. I know you mentioned the website and YouTube, but maybe give a rundown of all of your platforms that people can look you up on.
Yeah, so YouTube, you can find us at Burn Pit BBQ. Same with Facebook, Burn Pit BBQ. On Instagram, you can find us at Burn Pit BBQ Guys. And then, if you want to go out to our website, subscribe to our newsletter. Like we mentioned before, we send out a weekly newsletter with recipes, tips, and then also, if we're going to be out at places, where we're going to be, so you can come find us. And that's at burnpitbbq.com. I think those are the main places that we're out, and we post a lot of content on social media. So, and you can always find us if you have questions or recipes you'd like us to do, or show us what you're cooking. You can always post those out there as well.
Nice. One thing that I do want to say before we end this is, as you had mentioned earlier in this, that you're both veterans. It's veteran-owned, and so I did want to say thank you very much for your service. It's greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for talking with us today, and we hope that everyone listening learned something to help you own the season.